everybody. Today we are talking about summer boredom. I'm Robin and this is Sonia, and we are Bolly Moms on the go. And today we really wanted to address how you're doing, moms. We're worried about you.
Yes.
Are the kids bored yet?
Yeah, we're halfway through summer. So how was your July? Did your child ask you mommy, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, and you're just like, again, like a little bit of Hollywood drama.
Yeah.
And so how are you dealing? Have you been creative about creating some activities? So have you been booking so many activities so your kids cannot be bored?
Yeah.
Or are you just struggling? It's today again, and it's what I'm gonna do with my child? I don't know. So
yeah.
How are you dealing?
How are you doing, moms?
Yes. How is your summer?
Yeah. We had talked about camps. We've talked about getting outdoors and playing outside. You know, we sort of talked about different ideas on what we could do to avoid the boredom in the summer, but inevitably this comes up where the kids are just like, I'm bored.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember my mom's answer would be like, well, you could clean the kitchen, or you could, you know, that was always, so we would never say it to her because she would always have something for us to do.
I'm not bored. I'm not bored.
Yeah, I'm not bored. I'm good. But, you know, one of the things that we were talking about is that boredom can be actually a pretty positive thing.
Yes, it's very good for the brain to open up your imagination and creativity.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's good for the child because they tend to have less creative time, less time for themselves to be creative, because it's they have to do this, they're on the schedule.
Yeah.
Doing this, breakfast, going to camp, or playing with friends, family.
Yeah, and I think now more than ever we sort of do that as parents, and that's maybe somewhere where we could all, you know, just even societally be doing a little bit better in actually allowing boredom to happen, because we do overschedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if they are not overscheduled, then by facility they will get screen time.
Right.
And a lot of screen time.
Right. Yeah.
And being exposed to screen time will just shut down their creativity.
Yeah. Completely.
Yeah. And there's more and more studies. So we're trying to raise more awareness about boredom, and it's good to have your child get bored.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. And then when they're bored, how we handle that. What do we do? What are the next steps, right? So we talk about, you know, I just said how my mom used to handle it. and it actually was working though, you know, so she would say, if you're bored, I'll find something for you to do, was sort of the answer, sort of the attitude is if you're bored, I got something for you to do. And we'd be like, because of course it would never be fun what she would want us to do. So we would go out of our way to create, to find something to do, whether that be just go outside and get on our bikes, or whether we do something with each other as sisters. And we would do anything to not, you know, clean the kitchen.
And I get it. And then there are so many types of children who can already be creative or find ways easily, and some need a little bit more of guidance to be in a way of create things.
Right.
So I know my kids are pretty creative because I let them create since they're very young, and they have a bunch of toys or craft, or then they just manage.
Yeah.
But I still hear them sometimes, especially my others, I'm bored, mommy. It's okay. And I'm telling him, I'm busy, I'm doing that. I can't play. Maybe in 1 hour I would be able to play with you, but you have to manage. And then sometimes his sister doesn't want to play because she's busy doing all.
Yeah. Well, and they
so
don't always want to play with each other.
Else.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that sometimes it's really, really creative, and it could be something very simple. So he's very active. So catching a little softball, and then starting to throw it on the wall. And then at some point I would witness him being trying to make tricks around the wall in the corner, and then try to figure something. And then this creativity,
that's
in flow.
Awesome.
And then at some point he's going to make okay, if I throw it once and then bounce it again, and then try to make as many rebounds as possible. So then I will catch him after an hour, being very entertained by himself. Yeah. And not bored. Yeah, just creating his own thing.
Yeah. But the key for this is that we have to be willing to take the screens away.
Yes.
And I know, moms, I know you just cringed at me. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I have 2 boys. They're now they're teenagers.
Yeah.
I know better than anybody how easy it is to just say, go play with your iPad, or get on the TV, or here's your computer. I mean, it's really the babysitter sometimes. And I know that that's like the easy answer, but sometimes we have to just take a bite and dig into letting them whine at us for a little while in an effort to let them get to that point of creativity.
Yes.
Because it takes a little bit of whining to get to the creativity.
One day teenager,
Yeah.
because they have maybe less. I found that when they're little, you can help them be creative. So there is, yes. So you have this concept called the strew, which I love. So it's for, especially for young ones up to 10 or just before teenager. A strew, STREU, a strew.
Strew.
And it's very fun. So the idea is that you gather a bunch of items. Toys could be a mix of toys. So let me give you an example. So let's say that your young child, like 5 years old, around 5 years old, is into cars. And so you kind of set up a bunch of like cars, cat boxes, maybe a bunch of other containers, and you put that around, and then you see and wait what your child will create with that.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes the child like get a sense of like, oh yeah, I can make with the cardboard like putting a parking lot or something around, cool. And then get around and then get the car go around. So the kids get to create their own scenery with what you set up, but you didn't push them to like, no, you should do a parking lot, you should create.
Which
so
is that's your challenge, Mama.
So you have to let them feel what they could create. And if it doesn't pick, because it happens that sometimes you put a bunch of items and the child is like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like, don't give up. Like the next strew that you're going to build, like maybe you're going to have a bunch of other bubbles, soapy and cars. And maybe it's like, oh yeah, wet things. And then, you know, with a bucket. So it's like putting the car and then they're going to create something.
Yeah.
But when you build these strews, at some point, like what I realized, that they start to be creative. They start to like expand their imagination and create.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then when they get older, you can build that. Or when they get a little bit older, you can pull out some of the toys that the kids have not been playing with.
Yeah, get those old toys
out. They forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then when you pull them out, and it's like, oh, they haven't played, and sometimes they like feel like playing it again.
You know, my kids, I'm trying to remember when they were little. Like they always responded the most to things that were like paper or paint or Play-Doh, like those sorts of tangible things. For my boys, that was much more attractive to them. Lego was much more attractive to them than these fancy toys that we could buy. So we spent a lot more money on like puzzles and Lego and Play-Doh and paint and paper, like crafting, than we did anything else. And even today, we need to clean it up, but my 13-year-old, we have a craft area for him, because he's very, like, he loves to draw, and he will sit for a long time with a piece of paper, and he'll do a lot. And he spends his own money now, because he's a teenager. He will spend his own money now on the Copics markers. Like he loves those fancy, expensive markers. But he will save his own money so that he can have the colors that he wants of those markers. Nice. So it's really important to him. But what I used to do for their birthday parties, one time we did, you know, those big long strips of paper, those the giant paper, we would pin it up along the fence. And then my husband cut out cardboard, and he made it look like a painter's palette. So we just cut it out in the shape of a painter's palette, and then we put finger paint on it, like big blobs. And then we gave it to the kids, and then they would just go to the fence and just like finger paint.
It's kind of a bit guided.
Sort of, it's just a bit guided. Yeah. Another time we did frames, so we got popsicle sticks, and as the kids came in for the birthday party, we took their picture, and then my husband went downstairs and printed all the pictures. But while he was printing the pictures, they created their own frame for their picture, and then they got to take that home. So it's sort of like, you know, so just more guided.
You can create an environment where your kids will be familiar with something, but create their own thing. So
Lego's really good for that too. And then if you are doing sort of a screen time thing, I think that this Minecraft game is pretty good for creativity, because they do get to build, and so if it is coming back to screen time in the end, then that's an option too. It's a better game.
I just monitor the time then.
Exactly.
It's like instead of doing 5 hours in front of it, maybe having 2 hours and then having another.
And maybe they do something in that, and then they come back to their Lego, you know, so you can sort of show them that they can have both of these things. Yeah.
So let's summarize with our 3 Bolly Moms insights.
Okay.
So the first one is it's okay to let your child be bored.
And not even okay, you guys, it's important.
It is important.
Yes. Yeah.
Let them be bored, and that's okay. You have to manage hearing your child's like, "Mommy, I'm bored." Even
yeah,
for
you
the
just have to
times.
buckle down
Like,
and just
breathe. Taking in. That's okay. You're gonna manage.
You're gonna be fine.
Yes.
Number 2 is to sort of organize the boredom. So give them some options.
Yes.
You know, and maybe one of the options is clean the kitchen. You know,
yes.
like put it out there. Maybe they'll do it.
Yeah, maybe they will really enjoy it, and it's like, okay, I want to help you more. What can I do? You never know.
Well, when they're little, they actually do like doing stuff
because
like
they copy you.
They're not so helpful necessarily, but they like doing it, so it's good.
They like to copy. Yeah. And the third one is like be patient. So when you're in the process of letting your child be bored, you have to be patient. You know, you have to know that it takes time for them to embrace their free time.
Yeah.
And be creative
and I think that we are going to say be patient at every video now. Moms, be patient.
Yes. So I hope that these ideas will inspire some ideas for you and your child to be less bored.
And tell us some ideas.
Yes.
Put it in the comments below. Subscribe, like our page, you know, all that fun stuff. Yes. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.